Just like the graphics and everything about it is just like so beautiful. And why is there not like more snow in like certain areas, etc., things like that? That's kind of sus. Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, right? But you know what I mean. It's a big old bear. I'm gonna try and kill him. As you can see, like, I just do so much damage, like, it just doesn't really matter what happens. Did it drop a bag? Oh, I thought it did. Community is ignoring a lot of the mistakes Amazon's made. Yeah. I think the community is not really doing the game any favors by hand-waving a lot of the obvious problems the game has. I feel like it's not helpful to the game, and it's not doing anyone any favors. I understand that, like, of course they want the game to be good, I do too, but I'm not willing to ignore problems with the game in order for me to imagine that it's good. Developers actually appreciate quality feedback. Well, the thing is, like, the developers have actually implemented a lot of things that, like, let's say Rich and I have suggested. And obviously, like, it's not just that simple, like, oh, Rich and I make a suggestion and the devs add it into the game. That's not how it works. But, I mean, there were some things, like the way that, like, gathering and, like, salvaging items went and other stuff like that. And, like, these were suggestions that we had made personally to the game. And also things that I had made in my video. You know, it'd be really interesting to watch my old New World review video and see what I said in that video. And see how many things are the same. Because, like, that was last year. Curious to see, like, if it's changed that much. Let me go through this area, then I'm going to do that. About combat you should read. Might help us get better combat. Yeah, I might do that. Oh, wow. Are these ironwood trees? Ironwood trees are very rare. Yes, they are. Oh, this is a PvP area. There we go. It's a lighthouse? It's a dick house, man. Okay. Can you go that way? I don't think you can. This way? No. This is kind of a risk. No. Seems like that's as high as we go. I kind of don't want to go down there because I know what that is. It's like a level 45 50s dungeon. It's called Scorpius. Like, anybody who played the preview knows very well what that place is. I want to go over here instead. Was it any fun? It wasn't in the preview. That's the XP farm? It was. I don't think it is anymore. Yeah, I think at this point, like, I've pretty much played everything that I want to play with the game. And I'm like, I got level 60. I'm happy about that. I got my gear. I think I'm about ready to do my review and then wait for release. Like, I want to log on and, like, play with these guys because I just think it's fun. But, like, that's about it. This is my favorite zone in the game, personally. I really like it a lot. Looks like I'm just gonna have to walk through the normal way. What is that? I know what it looks like, but I don't think that's what it is. Yeah, the corruption resistance mechanic, as I said, like, that's the purple thing that goes down, is, in my opinion, probably one of the stupidest mechanics the game has. It's just a throttling mechanic that serves no purpose other than to make things arbitrarily harder. It's just bad. It's like the game creates a solution, and then you have to solve it with the the game creates a problem, and then they also give you a solution, and they're like, hey, this is good gameplay. I don't think so. That's not how it works. Corruption isn't as bad as Blight. I think Blight is a lot better than Corruption. The reason why I think Blight is a lot better than Corruption is because Blight is something that doesn't just occur from you being in an area. Usually it occurs from you standing in certain places or getting hit by certain abilities. And also Blight has an outcome after hitting the, after actually being blighted that actually changes gameplay. The Corruption doesn't do anything. It's just like, okay, you're corrupted, you took damage. Like, if you're corrupted, shouldn't you do something more than just take damage? You know what I mean? So, it just takes damage. Like, it just takes you down. Whereas, like, whenever you're doing a lot of these corrupted zones and everything like that, the only thing you really do is you just take damage. Like, that's it. Like, I don't know. I find that, like, super boring. It's just bad game design, in my opinion. Ooh. This thing's got a lot of health. He's gonna blow up. Lazy game design. Well, I think that it's worse than lazy game design, because not only is it lazy game design, but it's punishing game design. It's punishing lazy game design, which is what I think is really what makes it frustrating. for me to see it in the game. It's like, not only is this stupid, but you're gonna have to deal with it all the time. Are you taking damage just a placeholder thing? I mean, it was the same last year, and now it's a month out of release, and it's the same exact mechanic. I feel like if it was a placeholder, I mean, how long is it gonna be holding a place? You know what I mean? You gotta do SSC and TK? Yeah, of course. I saw Joker was doing the runs today. Yeah, it's a permanent placeholder. They'll fix it in 2 years. Grab the monolith. That's not even on the map. Huh. I'm gonna see if I can get up to the top of this and see if I can look over and see what this is. Seems unlikely, but I want to at least try it. Maybe up here? There we go. There's a great wall. Huh. It does seem like it's more of the same. Like there's nothing like new over there. Yeah, it's another ruined area. Maybe I can get up here. I don't know. I feel like I probably can. Shit. I almost had it. Seems like there's like no ledge for me to grab onto. Nah, there's no way I would have hit it by then. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay. I feel like there's like just never gonna be anything over here that I ever see. It's just kind of here. Wall climbing is good. I think it's great. Yeah, I really like the wall climbing in this game. Am I gonna make it here? Yeah, I did. Nice. They do not want me going over this way. I should have charged. I should have charged. Oh god. That was fast. Let's see here. Oh, wait, what the? Oh my god, look at that. Holy shit. Damn. Let's see what that's gonna be. Let's see here. Just one over there. Okay. Yeah, this area is super nice too. I like this area a lot. Swimming's unlocked at level 61. Yeah. I don't think I can get up there. Pretty sure I can't. So like, if you look at the cats, like this is what cats do. Like every cat's the same. So they do like this attack, they do the jump back. And then they might go for the, they'll go for the charge. There it is. That's about all they do. Yeah, they don't really have like that complicated of mechanics at all. So there's the other zone in the other game. How close can I get? So there's like no NPCs over there. Looks like Grizzly Hills, kind of. Wonder what would happen if I just charged in there. Let me take off my gear. Does all my shit lose durability if I die, or just my equipped gear? All of it? No, I don't want to do that so much. So I guess the only way for me to do any exploration over there is to be online and then trigger a lag spike in the game. and then be able to walk through before the game detects that I'm over there. That's what I'd have to do. I'd have to like go and I have to be in the game, and then I'd have to like get like a peer block or something, and then peer block my IP, or create like lag, like almost like DDoS myself, and that would allow me to do it. I could actually do that without like affecting my stream at all too. I'm not going to do it, but like that would be how to do it. Two more people lag out the server. No, it'll insta-kill you. You have to be like, basically what you have to do is you have to disconnect your character from the server, but still have your client online. So you have to get like that lag detected thing and then run over there. And the way you do that is by blocking the Steam IP from accessing your computer through, you know, either probably Windows Firewall or from, you know, a program like PeerBlock or something like that. Now, I don't know if it would work. I'm not sure. But you'd have to figure out like which one it would be. People just data mine the zone. Yeah. Like detected locks you out from moving. Western zone of the Great Cleave is fully fleshed out. Oh, this place here? Yeah. Oh, this place you mean? No, wait, how many? Yeah, we got to like right here. It's like this giant mountain with like a caster guy. Alright, let me do something. Give me 1 second. I want to pull this up and see what it is. Okay. 10 months ago, my review of New World.
What's up, boys? So today I wanted to talk to you all about New World. It's the MMORPG that's being developed by Amazon Studios, and it's slated to be released in spring of 2021, and it was originally going to be released right about now. And let me tell you, after playing the beta for almost 100 hours, or the preview for almost 100 hours, I am very glad that it was delayed. So
yeah, so it was whenever it was delayed the first time.
The negatives, the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, and everything else in between. And I also want to just share my personal experience playing the game and things that I've done, and then also talk about where I hope the game goes from here. Now, first thing I do want to have a little bit of a disclaimer here is I'm not going to talk a lot about the social features of the game, because I played this game primarily as a streamer, and my experience playing the game is not, you know, necessarily what a lot of other people are going to have. So I'm going to kind of skip over a little bit of that. Now, just for a little bit of context on this game's been in development for a very long time, and it originally was going to be a PvP focused game, and then I think that after they probably saw the effect that Phase 2 Classic WoW had on the player base,
I do genuinely believe
the
this.
developers decided to go with a little bit more PvE stuff as well. And I think that's a good decision, by the way. So it's got a lot of survival aspects to it, like with eating food, building camps, and that kind of stuff. but the game has transitioned in many ways to being more of a traditional MMO. And because the alpha was under NDA, I was really excited to play this game because whenever a new MMO comes
Now,
out,
I really need to do something about this. It's like my streams, right? Where like I have such a long intro, and I think I've tried to like consciously get better at this as like making videos, but like I haven't talked about anything at all in the video so far. You know, like I haven't talked about like anything. I'm just talking for no reason. Like I go back and I watch my own videos to see that. Stun locked? Well, it's like it's not stun locked because it's just locked.
even if the game sucks absolute fucking dick, it's going to be pretty fun to play for at least a couple of weeks because you're going into this crazy new world. Nobody knows a fucking thing about it, and everybody's asking in trade chat, trying to make friends. Alliances are being formed, guilds are being made, rivalries are being created, and everything is just new and beautiful.
Let's go script it. No, it's not about that. It's
and people are probably on many servers getting mad about it. So I think the genesis of these MMOs is always beautiful, and sometimes it's chaotically beautiful, but it's still beautiful. And I had a lot of fun playing the game. I'll say that for sure. I really did enjoy it. But there's also a lot of dog shit ass bullshit that happens in the game. So I'm going to talk about that too.
It's like 2 minutes 30 seconds to actually talk about the topic.
Now, the world of New
long.
World is probably one of the main things that even the people that didn't really like the game can probably agree looks pretty fucking good. Like, if you go around and you just look out and you see the sunset or the sunrise over the trees, and there's like there's like an elk in the corner. Don't listen to him though, because the audio's fucked up. I'll fix that later. But you see like the elk off in the background being very quiet. You see like the river underneath, and it just looks absolutely fucking great. You want to take a screenshot. You want to be there.
So that's the same as it still is.
The whole world is set. I think it's pretty obvious, right? The world is set in somewhere around 1500s America. At least that's where it is in my mind. And so you see a lot of places that you probably see somewhere in, I don't know, like the Everglades or something like that. It's hard to say. But that's kind of the general geography of what they're going for. Now, the problem with the world is this. If you go to one of the ancient ruins, it's filled by skeletons that for some reason are not categorized as being undead, you've pretty much been to all of them. And so over in Morningdale, which is one of the mid-level to higher level zones in the game, you go to one ancient ruins and you encounter one of these NPC skeletons. And by the way, like every single different mob in the game has its own different combat music. So you go up and you're fighting against one of these skeletons, and the moment that you go in combat with them, the nice, beautiful, calming, soothing tranquility of the music turns into this.
Well, that hasn't changed.
You can just play that over and over and over, and it's pretty much the same fucking thing.
So, like, they did change Morningdale a bit. So, like, before there were way more of these. I think they changed the map a good amount. From what I remember. There were way more of these different ancient ruins in this area. And as far as I know, like, a lot of this got changed in a pretty big way. So they actually did change that.
It just plays the same fucking music, the same thumping drum sounds over and over and over. And it's so obnoxious and annoying. But beyond that, if you go to one of these different sites with these undead, or not, not undead, the ancient guardians, you've pretty much been to them all. There's like 5 or 6 of the different sites in each area, maybe even more in some areas, and they're exactly the same. They have the exact same mobs, they have the exact same type of chests, they have the exact type of like boss mobs, and it's just fucking boring. You see one of them, you've seen them all. And the odd thing about it is if you contrast that with some of the original areas in the game, it's not even remotely close. Like some of the original dungeons in the game, like there's this one gigantic life spire basically in the middle of the map.
We went there, it was Malevolence at the top.
Dungeon, and you're traversing up this gigantic spire, you can see out into the open of
It's
the
this
zone
one.
around
This one
you,
right here.
and you're literally ascending this entire tower that's an outdoor dungeon.
Yeah, it was
And
really cool.
not only are you ascending it, but there's different winding paths. There's different areas where there isn't necessarily a like, let's say the doorway is destroyed, and so instead of going through the doorway, you have to go to the left or the right and climb up these different rocks that have collapsed as well. And the climbing features in the game are very good too. So that's fucking really, really cool. And I love that. And so I'd like to see the game utilize more of that unique world building and less of the copy pasting. And I think that with the world, you do have a lot of copy pasting. The ancient ruins are like that. The forts are like that. You walk into one fort and it's like, you have the outer area. You walk in the fort, you get shot in the back by the archer that's right below you that you can't see walking in. And so the moment you just go through the doorway, you're immediately fucking hit by him. Really fun and engaging gameplay mechanic there, by the way. And then you go into the inner keep, and there's like a blacksmith guy, and it's pretty much all the same every single time. There's like 5 or 6 of these forts that are around in the snowy area, and they're pretty much the exact same architecture, and it's just fundamentally boring. And I'd like to see them add a lot more variety and diversity in terms of the different areas in the world in general. Now, this also goes to the towns in the game. What really separates Morningdale from First Light? What really separates First Light from Monarch's Peak or Monarch's Wharf or whatever it was? Well, really,
This has actually been improved too. They've done a better job to make the different cities more unique. And this is actually something that they have done a better job at. And it's much better now than it was during the preview. So this is actually better.
nothing. The only thing that separates it is a name. All of the different towns look pretty much the same because they're using all of the same assets. There's not a bunch of unique special assets for each different town, and every town basically feels the same minus a few. And I can contrast this with Warcraft. Stormwind and Ironforge feel very, very different. You know whenever you're in Stormwind, and you know whenever you're in Ironforge. If you see a screenshot of somebody in one of the towns inside of New World, unless you've played the game for a really, really long time, you probably can't even tell where the hell they are. That is a huge problem. And it's almost like they only have like 40 different houses that they can use in the entire game. And each different town is just combined with 25 of those different houses of the total 40. So you see a massive, oh, it's the blue building that has the, the stairway on the, yep, it's right on the left, and it works the exact same as the town that I just came from. It's just pretty boring, it's copy-paste, and it's just lazy. And so I'd like to see the towns have a little bit more of their own personality and have a little bit more of their own uniqueness. Now, this also translates to the mobs in the game as well. These same alligators and these same undead guys that I was talking about earlier, the ancient guardian guys that I was talking about before, the same ones that you encounter at level 15, you are also encountering at level 50. And
even level 60. That's the same problem. So this is something that the game had a problem with last year, and it still has a problem with this.
Exact same mob. We just need, if they doubled the amount of mob types in the game, it probably still wouldn't be enough.
That's true.
Because you'd still have a lot of repeats.
It's still that way.
I'm okay with some repeats, and I think a certain degree of common themes is good. But whenever common themes is the only theme, that's the problem. And even some of the bosses, the in-game bosses, function the exact same as just the regular NPCs do. They just have a special name. I don't know, man. I think that's boring. And there are a few exceptions with like the Spriggan bosses, which are like the end-game only bosses. But other than that, there aren't really a whole lot of other exciting things in the game in terms of like different special mobs. I kept looking around for something like, oh, am I going to fight like, a Kraken or some sort of like gigantic, like massive bear? No, not really. It's pretty much all the same shit. So I think that was kind of a disappointment for me personally, and I would have loved to see more different types of mobs. Now, on top of that, let's talk a little bit about the end game for the game and the way that it works. So the max level in New World is 60, and I got to, I think, 58 or 59, never hit 60 because there's no reason to, which
That
is
changed.
part of the problem.
60 now, boys.
Most of the gear that you get in the game is all like these massive like kind of steps. So like level 20, all the gear is level 20 requirement, and then at level 35, all the gear is level 35 requirement. But there's not really a lot of 25 or 31 gear.
Yeah, this is the same thing. This was a problem back in the original game, is that all of the gear was like, there's only like 3 or 4 gear thresholds. So like as soon as you hit that threshold, you'd get your full like faction gear, and you were just a god. And it's better now. They've improved this.
Pretty much 20, 35, and
Yeah.
50. So whenever you're 45, you're
Yep.
probably using all your 30 gear. Like
Yeah,
I
it
haven't
sucks.
even seen any gear that isn't requiring one of those 2 levels.
It's like basically, remember back whenever you were like a warrior and in like Scarlet Monastery, and you'd use that gear until like level 45 or 50 with like, you know, like Berserker helmet, Herod shoulder, etc. It's like that, but for every class all the way up. And like now it's better, but it's still a problem because the faction gear is just so much better than a lot of the other gear, and it comes gemmed as well, which like kind of saves a lot of time.
And there isn't really a lot of 60 gear either that I've seen. So the problem with that is that it creates like a massive drought in a player's gear, because most of the time the way that and I don't know if they're going to change this whenever the game actually comes out, but the factions that you become part of, basically just imagine it like Horde and Alliance, and there's a little bit less restrictions on it versus Horde and Alliance, but you pretty much choose your PvP faction, and the quartermaster for that PvP faction gives you these different items that you're able to buy if you get enough commendations for your faction. Well, here's the problem, is that the commendations are really fucking easy to get if you do these special corrupted zones.
See, the corrupted zones no longer give you faction commendations, but it doesn't matter because you can just run the PvP faction commendation quests and you get all the gear in like an hour. Who cares about faction gear? I've dropped most of that shit not long after picking it up. If you're replacing your faction gear as soon as you level up to the point where you can use it, it's probably because you don't know how to gear your character. And also, what causes people to get better gear? People usually approach getting better gear whenever they are not able to accomplish things that they're trying to do. But the reality is that you don't need better gear until you go to your next level. Not what I'm saying at all. Read the entire comment. I'm going to read your whole comment. I've dropped most of that shit not long after picking it up. It's been the case for every level of faction gear. The gear I'm picking up is just much better. Is just better. Who cares if I have to gem it myself? I mean, that's not what I'm saying at all. Like, I mean, you said it's not what you're saying at all, but that's literally, I use it for several levels in between. What I'm saying is like, whenever you are like level 45 or like level 50 and you get the gear, like the 50, it's like 55 or 50 gear, I forget which one it is. But like the 55 gear is good until 60. The gear before that is pretty much good until the next level. The weapons, you probably replace the weapons. I'd agree with you there. But not all the armor. And also saying that like you can gem it yourself is definitely true, but you ignore the fact that gemming it yourself requires a time investment, and every time investment that you put into gemming your gear is a time investment that you don't put into leveling your character. So particularly the weapons is what I'm talking about. Yeah, well, the weapons are fine, right? The weapons I think are okay, but it's, and also like the weapons don't come with gems in them, for that matter. They don't. So it's the armor that comes with gems in it, not even the weapons at all. So I only replace the weapons, never armor. Yeah, exactly. You can just MSQ all your gear. You can, but you don't have to. And by the time you gem the gear, you get new gear. Yeah, exactly. And it's which helps you level. The thing is though, is like you have a benchmark. Like the way that I think most people play games, this is like just my experience, is that most people play games and they don't look for upgrades until they have trouble and they start struggling with what they're currently doing. So until they start struggling at their current content, they're not going to look for upgrades to do, right? Like they're just going to keep going and ignore it. So basically the problem is like New World doesn't really give you those challenges, because a lot of the challenges that the game gives you are solved by bringing 3 people instead of 2, or bringing 5 people instead of 3, or bringing 2 people instead of 1. And you just wait for somebody else to do it with you, and that's it. Some people like me take their time, don't rush to the in-game content to get the in-game. If you take your time at the game, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to try to gear up your character every single level to get the absolute best gear at level 37. And then whenever you get to 39, you're going to try to get the best gear at 39. You see what I'm saying?
Are very easy to do, and almost every single player in the alpha, or the preview I mean, was doing them and spamming them over and over and over. So what this ends up being, what this actually looks like for a player, is as soon as you hit max level, within like 2 or 3 levels, you're fully decked out in the entire set of your faction's armor. Now that might sound really cool, except for whenever you realize, okay, great, now what? So the gear progression and gear progression curve in the game is not very good, and I think that's something that you do need to work on. Now, my understanding is that crafting gear is actually going to be like the highest quality possible, because it can get up to I think 660, and the legendary gear, which is like 625 gear, is 625. So
right now, I don't know if anything goes above 600 in the game. I haven't seen anything above 600. I think they've changed that.
Crafting gear theoretically has a higher ceiling than the legendary gear does, but because of the preview, we weren't really able to experience that as much. And for a lot of players going into New World, they're just going to get the faction gear and be done with it, and they're not going to really experience the same gear progression that MMOs generally want to provide.
Yeah.
And I do think that the way that that works is it's not very fun. It sounds fun because you get all the gear, but then what happens after you get all the gear? It's boring, and then you have to spend the next 10 levels grinding until you can get to the next break point where you can get all the gear again.
It's like you get excited for like the next 2 levels, like the last 2 levels and like the break points, because you're like, oh man, only 1 level until I get all my new gear. Oh man, only 1 level or 2 levels until I get all my new gear. And Amazon did change that a little bit, and I think it was actually an improvement. Let me see if they have a vendor here. Do they have a faction vendor here? Oh, it's too bad. It looks like they don't. Can I go over to here? No, I can't. That's too bad as well. I can't do that. Well, whatever.
And to put into perspective how efficient and how lucrative I think this is, I believe if they cut it in half, it would still be too good. So that's a
and they did cut it in half. They more than cut it in half, and it was still too good. I was right. And I think that, like, for example, one thing that they did with the game is they changed the way that like the levels, like at the beginning you get everything at the same level, but then after that, like after the second and third tiers of faction armor, like for example, like you get your weapon at 49 and then you don't get your armor until 55. So like they have the different rewards kind of staggered out, so you're not just getting everything all at the same time, which I do think is a good thing.
Problem. And also on top of that, the end game bosses, so the way this works is New World is primarily a open world game, but there are these like special bosses that you're able to get keys for called Spriggan bosses, and you can fight these bosses in set groups of 5 people,
Yeah.
and I mean, they're not really that hard. I didn't get a chance to do the
I think that the game overall, like they changed the scaling of the game, and the spree guns were like they were really hard whenever the game originally came out, but like player competency has gone up a lot, and I think along with player competency going up a lot, player power has gone up a bit too, because people know how to build their characters better now, and there's just like stronger builds in general, and like the talent trees are more effective, and there's like more debuff stacking, etc., and it just makes the spree guns easier to kill. Like before, like for example, so here's an example right here. And this is whenever they did it last time. So watch how much harder it is for them. So he's doing a lot of damage. Like the bow used to do way more damage as far as I know. Look at that. Look how much damage it just did there. It's huge. And like comparatively to like what I was doing, I was just face tanking him. And this is before they like really had tanks in the game. So they rebalanced it to where like there were tanks in the game and everything. Wait, how much damage was that? Was that 700 damage? Yeah, 7,000 damage. Yeah, that attack was so good. That's why I rolled bow, is because of how good that was. And like that was like pretty much a one shot. And then this here, this is the shield, right? And so like look how fast he healed with that shield. So like their damage wasn't good, and like they just like, this guy's an idiot, right? Like if he had saved that 7,000 hit for it, for the shield, he would have broken immediately. But like he didn't understand the way the fight worked. So like I knew, because I watched this video a year ago whenever it came out, and I remember the video, and I remember the mechanics. So because of that, I knew that, okay, this is going to happen whenever we get into the fight. So I knew to kind of save my damage for it, but these people didn't really expect that. And so there's like the hand thing, remember? And see, that's what I was telling you them about. Remember how I was saying how like he moves it back and forth? They changed this, so it's not like this anymore. You see? So the way you avoid that ability that he does there is you have to have somebody close to him that triggers his melee sequence, because bosses in this game have different proximity triggers with their abilities. So that means that if you're too far away from them, it's like the bear that we fought earlier today, that whenever we did that's why are people just spamming random letters? What are you guys being weird for? Anyway, so what I was saying was like basically shit, sorry, that confused me. BR Spurgs. Brazilians don't do that, it's just morons do that. Like typing the same letter 50 times in a row is not a Brazilian thing, it's just a moron thing. Anyway, so means laughter. Anyway, I didn't know that. I've never seen anybody ever do that. I've been in Brazilian chats before. I've never seen that. KKK means laughing. Yeah, it means something different here in the US. And so, anyway,
Coruja, vai lá. Defesa.
so obviously they're struggling on the boss.
Porra é essa, velho?
And like the hand is like obviously really, really rough.
Nossa. Ele é muito forte.
Ele é muito pior que o outro, tipo, muito pior.
Forte.
So like his attacks there, like that's really what kills people is like that hand.
Metade da minha vida, velho.
That hand just does so much damage, as you guys can see. So he's about to do his heal right here. He's about to go into his shield.
Vira
Well, I
pro
guess
outro
not because he's
lado.
full health.
Quem tiver heal, me heala, por favor.
So yeah, like swinging his hand around like that, that's the thing that I was telling them about. But apparently that's been changed. So I just wanted to give you guys like context of like how hard this used to be. And even now, like look at that. They still like see that guy, he got smarter, right?
Derrete ele.
Olha, mas ele continua
And he was
correndo,
able to
velho.
break through it, but they just couldn't kill the boss and outdamage it.
Gravado isso daqui, velho. Tá muito idiota.
Grove one, which is apparently the more challenging one.
Yeah.
Because we weren't able to get a key.
It's
We
this one
farmed
here.
for like 2 days, but we never got
We
one.
tried to do a key, but we couldn't do it.
And anyway, but we did the corrupted one, and it was not really that hard. He had 3 attacks. There's an attack where he did like this. He's got a giant like mallet, and he went like this.
Yeah, that's
And
all
then
he
he has
did.
another attack where he goes like this. He does the same thing, but it's faster. And then there's another one where he goes like this. And he jumps and he does it. Watch out! That's hard to deal with. So, yeah. The mechanics are a fucking joke. The bosses are...
This is the other one right
They
here.
are less detailed than BFA trash mobs in a mythic dungeon.
That's true.
They're terrible. And I'd love to see more detailed boss fights. And on top of that, what do you get out of the boss fight? Well, you get a corrupted chest. And you know what's probably in your corrupted chest? A gray. So there's no unique rewards for defeating the endgame bosses, which I do think really kind of sucks. Especially whenever it's an open world game. How do you create challenge in an open world game? I think that's very hard to do. And with New World, what ends up happening, and the meta for the preview became just overwhelming areas that were much higher level and tagging the mobs and getting full experience for them, even though you're level 40 and you're killing level 65 mob. And I do think that fundamentally is a problem as well, but I've seen many things like this happen.
Yeah, they fixed this in the wrong way. What they should have done is they should have capped experience. So like you got like every mob, like for example, like let's say you kill like a level 60 mob. A level 60 mob gives like let's say 3,000 experience. Where like in WoW, if you kill a level 60 mob and you level 40 or something like that, there's like a ceiling on the experience that you can get. But in New World there wasn't. But what they did is they made it to where like you have to do a certain amount of damage to a mob rather than just tagging it. And I actually think that one of the good things about New World on a preview was that any damage tagged the mob and that was it. It was simple, it was binary. There was no nuance to it. There was nothing to it. You tag the boss and that's it. And they changed that now, and it just made it worse.
So I think the gear progression in the game is
How should it be?
completely fucked. I think that
Tag
the level
tag a mob
progression
and that's it.
And the way that players go about doing quests is completely
Yeah,
fucked. And,
you
and
tag it,
questing,
that's
by the
it.
way, is terrible as well. Most quests are you talk to the guy and he's like, go do this thing. And you have to go over there and you kill 15 mobs and you
Tag enables boosting. Couldn't you boost characters really fast though? No, you couldn't. Here's why. So I can use this exact same thing. So let's say you are this level and you kill a mob that's level 60, right? You only get the ceiling on mob experience is 400. So it doesn't matter if you're killing level 40 or you're killing level 60, you're still getting 400 experience per mob. So that's what they need to do. You understand? So like there's a ceiling on the amount of experience you can get per mob. It's very, very simple to solve that problem.
get 5 items that don't really matter because they're just dropping the mobs that you're killing anyway. And then you also
Someone can kill 40s for you and boost you. Yes, they could do that. And they could do that for you right now in the game. So here, yes, getting boosted is not a reason to make the game mechanics worse. They could do that regardless. Like, you can boost right now in the game. You understand? Like, boosting in the game, like, if you go out of your way to prevent boosting and stuff like that, think about what WoW has done to prevent boosting and prevent certain types of gameplay, and how much that goal and that pursuit has hurt the game. You see what I'm saying? Three territories that can't be bought, one for each faction. Yeah, that might be necessary, honestly. You can't stop people from getting boosted? No, you can't.
have to loot 5 chests. That right there is like 80% of the quests in the game. It's extremely boring and repetitive. And after you've done 1 or 2 of these, like by the time you're level 30, it's like, oh my god, I'm only halfway there. And also, they did buff the experience in the preview, so obviously, whenever you're playing it on live, it's going to be even worse. So more quest variety is something that's extremely important, and just in general, more character progression. It needs to feel better. Like, there's not a lot of cosmetic progression either. You don't really feel your character looking that much cooler at level 50 than they did at level 35, or level 60 than they did at level 50.
I think that's another big issue. There's no visual progression that characters have. Simple in design terms, you understand design very well. It's engineering behind it that makes it complicated. Wouldn't it be like a simple like, I don't know a lot about programming, but like the way the experience in the game works in like many games is there's like an algorithm that determines how much experience you get. So couldn't it be whenever you receive experience that experience that you receive goes through a check that the game does that determines what level you are, and if the check determines if you are under a certain level, it augments that experience to give you a certain amount instead of that? I feel like that's exactly the way that it would function. Yeah, it's a super easy check to do. It's a lot of post-processing. It's not. It's a condition statement. Yeah, it's like it's an if-then statement, right? Like, if level 40, then experience ceiling 300 or something like that. It's extremely easy. Yeah, I mean, like, people, like, there's a lot of people that act like programming very simple things is some sort of like massive fucking undertaking that only somebody who graduated from MIT can even begin to understand. But like, the reality here is that it's really not that hard to understand this. Depends on Lumberyard, man. Well, it does depend on it, but like, I'm assuming like Lumberyard is built off of, I think, like another engine. And if Lumberyard can't do that, then I think that's a failure of the engine. CryEngine, yeah. And like, what's the like a lot of these things are probably like if-then statements. I think these are common in different ways, and I think all programming languages, they're just expressed differently.
I think that is a problem. So there's like a lack of in-game rewards that are unique, and I think also just a lack of rewards in general that correlate to any sort of like real skill in the game, which is kind of hard to say with like a PvE game in this way. But I think that, for example, doing a Spriggan boss, for as ever stupid as the one attack thing is, it's still more challenging than going and tagging one NPC once and then getting full loot for it.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
Later on, right? It's definitely more challenging than that. So I'd like to see more unique rewards for beating the endgame bosses. Now let's talk a lot about the combat. Now this is going to be probably the biggest section of the video, because the combat in New World is very hit and miss, literally. So,
Sure
for
is.
example, if you're fighting against an NPC and they shoot a fucking bow at you or they shoot a spell at you, you're added the spell on your screen and you still get fucking hit by it. Why is that? Because it's an online game with latency, and that's just the reality. And
They've improved that a bit. And I think the way they improved that, so the way they solved this problem is they just gave the dodge, like this thing here. This has more iframes. So I'll give you an example. Look how many iframes this gives me. See that? That's huge. That's huge. Look at that. No, I would not like to do sticky keys. And see, if you don't move out of it, basically, like, as long as your character is in the animation and outside of that, like, what is this item that somebody linked? A 540, that's a fucking big one right there. Oh, that's Schweigens. Oh, he's in our group. So you see what I'm saying, right? Is that the iframes in this game are massive. They are huge. And also, spacebar to dodge? No, the spacebar is to jump. Shift is to dodge. That's the same as I did in Sekiro. Let's see. I'm looking for like a cat or like something bigger. What does an AoE attack? Well, like, let's say if it's like a ground nova, like right here, it will still work the same way. Maybe there's like one of the casters. See if I can find a caster real quick. Oh yeah, people don't know what iframes are. Sorry, this is a Dark Souls reference, and what iframes are is basically whenever you are in this animation, your character cannot take damage. So I stands for invincibility. So while you are inside this frame, you cannot, invulnerability, invincibility, it's the same thing, right? They're synonymous. So like this one here, let's go ahead and just fight this one. So like while I move like this, it still hits me. And like if you were to go back and like, can somebody clip that to me and send it to one of my mods? And I want to go back and I want to watch that. And I want to show you exactly what I mean. Yeah. Yeah, because I want to give you an idea of like what that's supposed to do. Yeah, somebody clip that. So then right here, right? Okay, so see that? You can dodge way ahead of time. See that? It hit me clearly and I took no damage. That's because of an iframe. See that? That's clearly because of an iframe. It even hit my player. It even hit my character target, and I still didn't take damage. Send it to me. Yeah, send it to Satanic. If somebody can clip that. See that? That hit me. That hit me right there too. Even though my character's like my hitbox was out of it. So I'm gonna move back, just so you guys can get a better idea. Oh, he moved closer. That did not hit me. And I'll show you at like 0.5 speed, or 0.25 speed. But that will not hit me. Watch. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Okay, here we go. See that? Iframe. I didn't have iframe. It's not consistent. It is consistent. The only thing that's not consistent is me. See that? Iframe. Dodge the arrow? Okay, sure. See that? See, it literally locked onto my character. That completely fucking proves the fact that it's an iframe. Like, it is 100% an iframe. You see? Are iframes bad? No, I'm saying that, like, they solved the problem. They solved the problem in a way they shouldn't have solved it in, but it works. That one's 100% factual. Yeah, it's like that it clearly locked onto my target, or my character. Even though it had to redirect. Let me just go ahead and pull this up. So here we go. See? See that? That is why, so they fixed this. They fixed this problem. They fixed this problem right here with adding more iframes to the dodge. It's not a bug, it's a feature. What does he have, the Omega effect? Like, what is this? Like, this like some fucking dark side shit. How should they fix this? It's a fundamental to their combat. I'm gonna go downstairs real quick. I'll be right back. I'm gonna see if my mom wants to get Taco Bell tonight. Okay.
And this game also, New World, also utilizes a dodge system that's similar to Dark Souls, where you're able to roll and duck and dodge out of things. Well, here's the problem, is that in Dark Souls, the reason why it works is because you play the game locally. And whenever you're playing online, it doesn't. If you've ever played Dark Souls online, it's so bad that people literally have phrases for it, like Phantom Range. And whenever you're watching one of the experienced Dark Souls 3 PvPers, they're going to be making their swing halfway through somebody's roll because they're having to predict their latency. That is the most dog shit mechanic that I can possibly imagine.
If you watch like Fighter PO or Chase the Bro, those are like two really popular Dark Souls 3 like content creators. You'll see them attacking in the middle of a roll all the time.
And I'm not a fan of it at all. I really don't like the way that they have dodges in the game and they expect you to use them because of the way that the latency in the game works. I'd be completely fine if it was a local game, but having to calculate latency into those types of things does make it very, very annoying. I'm not saying they should get rid of dodges or anything like that, but I also don't think they should design the game around expecting players to dodge because of the fact that you're playing with a bunch of ping depending on where you are in the world.
And they actually solved this problem by just adding more iframes to the dodge. That's it. They added more iframes to the dodge, and so now the dodge works, even though it's online, because you have like twice as many iframes.
It just seems like it's kind of unfair. And on top of that, there are a number of mobs that, whenever you're fighting them, you spend more time being staggered by their attacks. If you're fighting them in melee, obviously, being staggered by their attacks, than you do actually fighting them. So you spend more time effectively without control of your character than with control.
This is really bad. So whenever you're fighting a bear, that's a bear, right? And so this is you. Actually, this is you. And here's the problem with fighting a bear in this game. Is that I'm going to draw 2 different hitboxes, okay? This is your hitbox. And this is the bear's hitbox. So the bear can hit you, but you can't hit the bear. This might be confusing actually for some people. Let me just go ahead. I'm going to redo this just to make it easier for people to understand. So, yeah, that's easier you guys understand, right? So, you can hit the bear, no problem. Or sorry, the bear can hit you, no problem, because his melee range is in here, but you can't hit him. You see what I'm saying? Other way around? Well, I mean, yeah, but you guys see what I'm saying, though, right? Like, I have very bad verbal dyslexia, and so I'll misspeak and I'll disorganize things in my brain because it's just like my brain just doesn't work properly in that way. But what I'm saying is like the bear can attack you, and you can attack the bear. And so the solution to this is that, so let's make another circle. So this is where the problem is. This is where your character can move. And this is where you can move near the bear. So you can't get inside of these 2 circles, right? So these are like these are the hitboxes, and this is where like you can't move into. Yeah, this is the collision. So the collision between the 2 player models makes it to where you can't get close enough to the bear to accurately hit it. You understand? Yeah. So this happens with bears, it happens with ogres, like the big giant, like monster guys. And here's also another big problem. I'm actually just gonna open up another MS Paint. That's a really great, that's such a great image. I want to hold on to that one. So the way that I'm not 100% sure about this. But the way that strike range works in the game is that this sword usually doesn't make a hit whenever it's at an angle, right? So if there's any verticality involved at all, like if there's any verticality, like if you're too far up or they're too far down, etc., you don't hit them. So that's a huge problem. Just like in Valheim? Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot like in Valheim, but it's different in Valheim because you can overhead in Valheim, and the overheads function differently in Valheim than they do in this game. Like, for example, like, you know, whenever you do like your axe and like your third attack with the axe and third attack with the mace is an overhead. With this, it functions the same way, or it doesn't function the same way. If you're above them, you should not hit them. Makes sense? No. The reason why it's problematic is whenever you're fighting those large mobs and you're talking about these collision boxes. So the collision boxes between players make it to where you can't get close enough to hit them a lot of times. And this is mainly a PvE problem. This happens primarily whenever you're fighting large NPCs like bears and ogres.
In my opinion, sucks. I don't think that a player, whenever they're fighting an alligator or they're fighting one of these like ogre mobs or one of the giant demon monsters, every single melee attack should turn your character. He falls down, and he flops on the ground, and then he was laying on the ground, and then he finally gets up, and he gets knocked down again, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me, man? Is this serious? Like, what the fuck is going on? And it's just very boring, and I don't think that this is not an argument to make the game easier. I don't think the game should.
Somebody says in my chat, this is such shit complaints. It's been the best MMO I've played in a long ass time. Do you know where you completely invalidate what you're saying? Is whenever your previous message was, I feel like Blizzard paid him to say dumb shit. Yonzo, you're an idiot, and every message that you've ever typed in my chat has been stupid. I'm looking at your logs. You've never typed a message in my chat ever that wasn't stupid. I'm gonna show it. He's fat. It's all about you, right? Fucking cringe. It's called being a baby, cringeman gold. Poor baby, you gotta make a decision. Like, I don't know what I was talking about that day. Your opinion is biased because people carry you based on popularity. You're carried, Asmon. You wouldn't have near DPS without your popularity. This is the same kind of people, right? He's a shit-talking retard. Did he say no hate? There's no way he said that. I'm super dumb, all facts. You are. You are stupid. And that's why you're banned.
Easier. I think the game's already very easy. I just think that the difficulty is displaced in a frustrating and unfun and often unfair way. Now, why do I say unfair? Because there's some bosses that they will have AoEs on the ground that clearly telegraph circles on the ground, and you are out of the circle, but you still get hit by the AoE. I think that's bullshit. Circle, but you still get hit by the clearly telegraphed circles on the ground, and you are out of the circle, but you still get hit by the AoE.
That, I think, is a huge problem. And, like, I'll give you an example of that. I'm gonna just go ahead and pull it up right now. Like, cause it happened earlier today. Bro, what is my recommended? Holy shit, bro, like... Oh my god. Are you kidding me, bro? What the fuck, dude? Whoa. It's not even my following. I'm only following Izzy and my other channel. These are my recommended channels. This is what people are recommended. What I get recommended now. Okay, so. So I'll give you an example of this. Is this the first time we pulled it or second time? See that right there.
Is that my death save? I think like the
Sorry, it's like kind of hard for me to tell. See that right there.
again.
This is garbage game design in my opinion. Because so here's the way that it's supposed to work. It's supposed to do fall off damage. If there's something that does fall off damage, it's being like, that is a wall right there. There is another way you can tell how things do fall off damage. Yeah, there are other ways you can indicate it. This is literal garbage. Look at that. I'm completely out of it. It's obvious that I'm completely out of it.
Same.
And then let's look at some of the other effects too. And these are all things I'm going to bring up in my video too. Like, this boss is actually really good, but this part of the boss is bad. Should do less damage and not knock you down, but still do damage in my opinion. Though it should be indicated that way. So like right here. So it's also inconsistent. So like if you look at it again, like watch this again. So it did nothing. You see that? Same exact mechanic, functioning differently twice. And look at that again. Watch this. Watch the wave. Do I even dodge the wave? See, look at that. I took 0 damage from that wave. I should have got hit by that wave. Watch this. Right here. Right here. Watch this wave. Nothing. Nothing. Maybe you resist damage? What are the odds that all 5 players resisted damage 2 times in a row, and all 5 players did not resist damage the first time? I mean, it's not 1%, it's like 0.001%. That's not what it was. See that? Again. The only thing that I can assume is that the circles that these things spawn are the knockback mechanics and not the outside of the ability, because that's why Asmon Silver doesn't get hit. Watch, he doesn't get hit. See? But I do. Let's see if the other players get hit by it. Panthu and Ruba don't get hit. Now, I think it's just bugged. In my opinion, I think that's really all there is to it. It's just simply bugged. Achaea Calm of the Mage. Okay.
She was doing the orc camp.
I'll look at like 2 more. So right here, this is where she spawns the things on me. So she put one under me right there, as you can see. But there's like, so as you can see here, watch this. She's gonna put it on me right here. See that? There's literally almost no visual indicator at all. There's no debuff. There's nothing. So she's going to put these things on me, and now watch where the explosions land. Because because she put 2 of them on me there, I stand here because I assume that if I keep standing here, she's going to keep putting them on me. But I don't know why that occurs. Does that go on her second on aggro? So now watch what happens here. You like this game to analyze it like that? I do the same thing with the Final Fantasy fights, right? Like if you watch the Twin Tanya stream that I did, like I like to analyze things down to where like I just know the mechanics so well that I can call somebody a fucking idiot for not knowing it and I'll never be wrong. That's my goal. Okay, so she's about to do it. And so like here's the indicator, right? So watch the indicator. So there's a sound that it plays, like that sound, and then it also says Arcane Explosion. In my opinion, I think that they should take this boss's health bar and whenever you're in a boss fight, replace the northeast and south thing, because this is literally just wasted space right here. Like that, you don't use this anywhere in a boss fight, and you replace it with the boss's health as a static thing. Your compass, yeah, of course, your compass. You replace it with a static thing, and then that static thing has a cast bar, and that cast bar says Arcane Explosion. So watch the way this one goes. So as you can see, I move out. And I'm right directly out of it. Just like in Final Fantasy? Just like, yeah. So there, look at that again. So watch this. So I am clearly out of the circle. I am 100% out of the circle. Boom. I'm down to 50 health. Meanwhile, here, I'm completely fine.
I was out of it.
And if you want to draw, here's the thing. Client server desync. Here's how you handle client server desync. If this is a problem. Oh shit, give me a second. I just got logged out. So that's how it works. So what you do is you make the kill zone smaller than the actual zone. So you take the amount of space that you can run inside of that 40 millisecond window, and then you subtract that space that you can run inside of the 40 millisecond window. You subtract that from the total circumference of the blast range of the ability. You see what I'm saying? That's a bad fix. Nah, boy, I don't want to have brain dead easy fights. This isn't... No, this is not easy. Having things be bad is not... I don't want brain dead easy fights either. Easy to abuse? No. Because no. Here's why it's not easy to abuse. Because you are setting it for an average latency. You are not setting it for the player's latency. You understand? So it's not easy to abuse because you're setting it to an average and not player latency. I don't want hard fights or easy fights. I want fights that feel fair. Like, you want to get an example of a fight that feels really fucking fair, that's hard? Slave Knight Gale. Another fight that feels really fucking fair, that's really fucking hard, but it's fair. Li Shin on Heroic. Sinestra. These are hard fights that feel fair. Sludge Fist. It's an extremely hard fight, but it's fair. KJ? KJ is too much RNG. But you guys can see what I'm saying, right? I mean, it seems kind of obvious, right? We can see how this goes wrong. The ironic thing, if I had just dodged again, I would have actually survived. Yeah, I would have actually survived. One's a proximity, it knocks you back. One's damage and line of sight. Here's why I don't think that, Agent, is because if you look at the damage that I took. See that? It's 3 5,000s. And they were not stacked on top of each other. So I got hit 3 times for 5,000. That's why I don't think it's 2 separate abilities. The reason why I survived is because I have this ability here. Lethal damage, avoid death, and reduce 50% HP. So I go to 50 HP. Watch what my health is. 50 HP. See? Hitbox? Yeah, of course it's OP. Yeah, that's why I'm using it. I have to go in like 10 minutes regardless. Like, I'm just gonna, like, then I've gotta go in like 10 minutes because I just need to get Taco Bell. Run. My mom and
I think that's bullshit. I think that if you're going to make the AoE bigger, make it bigger. But if you're going to have the circle on the ground, have that be where the AoE is going to do damage.
Yeah, I don't like tricks. I don't like tricks. If the circle is here, it should do damage here. Like, that's it. I don't like being tricked. I don't like being confused or like, yeah, tricks are for kids.
And
That's
is,
good.
in
I
my
like that.
opinion, just a very unfair and unfun mechanic. And there's a certain amount of knowledge that you can have, like, oh, well, you know, you have to learn that some of these things aren't exactly what they say they are. Give me a fucking break. It's just dog shit game design, and there's no reason that it should ever exist. It's the same thing also, like, hitbox problems are an issue in this game in many ways. I think alligators are like this, and I went and I was showing the alligator next to my character. I was running away from it, and the alligator can bite you, and you can look at the frame, the individual pixel, and the alligator's like this far away, but somehow he's still biting you. How the fuck does that work? It's just bullshit. So cutting down and doing a better job at these hitbox problems, I think is going to be a very big challenge for New World, and making these abilities seem fair is going to be a very big challenge as well. Like, there's another example where I was fighting against another monster, I think it's actually the same one with the AoEs, and he does a combo, like he'll hit you once, and then of course the damage occurs at the beginning of the animation and not the end of it, where it might be at the beginning, but the problem is with your latency, it happens at the beginning because in the game it's actually at the end. So you get knocked down by the first attack, and then he hits you with 4 more attacks that also subsequently knock you down, and by the end of it you're at 10% health or you're dead. I don't know, I think that sucks. Like, that sucks, because like, if you're going to punish a player for making a mistake at the beginning by getting hit the first time, I think you should just punish them once rather than punish them over and over and over and over again. So
this is actually another thing, is that, like, for example, well, let's say you get knocked down in Dark Souls. And this sounds kind of weird, right? But this is actually one of the inadvertent advantages that having low poise in Dark Souls gives you, is that whenever you get knocked down, there is a certain amount of iframes that you will have while you're on the ground to where you cannot take damage again. And you can spam roll out of those iframes and you will not take damage. So the problem with New World is that I don't know if it's this way anymore. I don't think it's as bad because there's more iframes. Higher poise get you killed by consecutive attacks for sure. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I think a really good example of this is the Lothric Knights in Dark Souls 1. If you have really high poise, they won't knock you down and they'll just fucking delete you because they do so much damage. But high poise allows you to get knocked back and knocked down, and it gives you time to recover faster. So, basically, character is like knocked down. So whenever he's in this frame, he's immune. But if he's in this frame, he's not immune, but he can roll. But the problem is that in New World, there's no iframe whenever you're on the ground, and you're just getting pummeled. You see what I'm saying? This is the way that Dark Souls works. Roll you get you out of any fall? Yeah, but you have to do like a animation canceling thing with like an R2, don't you? If you're talking about Dark Souls 1. Yeah.
What I mean to say is that if you're going to have an ability like that, just have it do the full fucking damage in one attack. Don't just keep the player stun locked while the guy just beats the shit out of you and you can't even control your character. It's just
Yeah, nobody wants to play that. It just sucks. Pretty complicated to fix. Client-side hit reg is usually in MMOs. Tons of players on screen. Yeah. Like, and I think that, like, really it's a lot better. And I think just, like, giving more leeway with the dodges is probably the smartest solution they can have.
not very fun to play. Maybe I'm in the minority about this, but I genuinely had less fun playing the game because of that.
Yeah,
and
I did too.
It actively made my experience worse, and it made me resent the game because of how unfair I felt like some of those mechanics were. And
So I'll give you an example of that. Yeah, I did too. Yeah, true. Oh, no, never mind. I'm thinking it's something else. Okay. So if you watch me fight this boss. Okay, here we go. So let's watch this. We're going to watch it in 50%. So right here, he hits me, but since I have Berserk up, it doesn't do anything. That one hits me, and he jumps and he hits me there. He's gonna get me with the tail here. Yep, there's the tail. So that right there, I was able to dodge out of that attack. So you see, like, watch, you see that right there? Watch right here. Watch my swings. Watch my swings. Watch how I swing right at him and it doesn't hit him. Right here. See that? Right there. No damage. I did 3 strikes, only 2 hit. Another one right there. Nothing. Another one right there. It's scuffed. It doesn't feel good. No, it doesn't feel good. He was moving. His hitbox shouldn't change dynamically like that. Not in an action combat game like this. I can understand that if you want to have like a dynamic hitbox for certain things. But you have to understand that like that level of difficulty is not enjoyable. Like I think that's trash, personally. It's not artificial difficulty, it's worse. It's unintentional difficulty. Okay, he's on the hill. And it's beta. It's not, no, there's no excuse for beta. Game comes out really soon. So right there, that mechanic didn't work. That's supposed to be his death grip, and it didn't work. So I move out of that. And I hit him right there. We're so committed to playing the game, playing about the game. Because the Amazon developers know this isn't called, like, they don't think this is complaining. You think it is. The Amazon developers that have improved the game substantially based off of feedback think this is feedback. This is direct, specific, constructive feedback. So now I move back because I can tell that I'm missing attacks because of my range. So I move out of that one. I try to get probably a hit on him right there. Yep, there we go. Right there. That's a whiff. Bro, that's a whiff. You guys see that? That's another whiff. I'm whiffing, dude. I'm whiffing. 3 whiffs. I got greedy there. This is about whenever I ask for help. I think the solution, really, here's what the solution is with a lot of these NPCs. The solution is to make that's the solution right there. Is you make the hitbox larger than the collision box for large NPCs like this. And it's not huge, right? It's subtle. That's how you solve the problem. So there's this. This is super easy to avoid. This is the death grip right here. I did not roll out of it. In general, in this game, dodging earlier is always better than dodging later, because the iframes in the game, it registers the attack the second that it goes in, so you have like residual iframes after the dodge. So always dodge at the beginning of the attack or halfway through it. Don't try to do like some fucking some parry Sekiro shit. Like you just dodge halfway through the attack, swallow your pride. Don't try to fucking min-max it because it's an online game.
And ultimately, we were able to beat every boss in the game pretty much that we went up against. There was not really any challenge a lot in the game. I just think that they should make the challenge more fair and more fun and less frustrating.
Someone says go back and rewatch it. I have it up in another tab. The ones that don't do damage, the monster moves his legs. When it actually collides, it does the damage. Monster Hunter style hitboxes. No. So I agree with you. Let's say they do want to do. So what you're saying is that, okay.
Frustrating.
So right now, it is this one. This is the collision box. Let's say it's the collision and the hitbox. So what I'm saying is that the collision box should be this. And the hitbox should be this. I don't think either one of them should be this. You see what I'm saying? You're saying this right here. I'm not saying this. You understand? So... because, so you understand? So you can get closer to the NPC and hit it. And also, if you want to talk about like an example of that, I'm going to go ahead and show you something. I messed up. I need to wait for him to bend down. Sorry about that. What I'm trying to show you is that whenever the ram bends its head down, the hitbox does not acclimate to the bending of its head. Oh, come on. Just fucking... See that? You see that? Right there. Tell me I didn't hit him there. See? You were outside of his head? Cool. Let's watch the VOD. Let's watch the VOD. Oh, I need to wait a couple more minutes. That should be good. This is gonna have to be my last example, because then I'm gonna have to get food. Jesus Christ. Okay, there we go. Can someone just link me the clip? Because I think that'll be a lot easier than trying to find this. Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, this will show it. Okay. So, watch this. Can I zoom in on this? No, I can't. It just zooms in UI. So I'm gonna wait for him to move his head down. And now here's where he does it. So as you guys can see right there. So I aim above where the head used to be. So I'm doing it right where the head used to be. Miss. And now I'm going to aim exactly where the head is. Right there. The head, it's exactly on his head. It misses. You see what I'm saying? First shot was way off. Yeah, you're right. First shot was way off. Yeah, you guys are right. The first shot was bad. The second shot was not bad. See if I find another one. Where are the goats? There we go. Where's it go? Go to the other side. Is it any more obvious than that? Animation doesn't equal hitbox. It should. Yeah. It should. So let's wait. Let's see if I can shoot his head here. So it would be right here. It doesn't equal there either. I hope you guys can see how much I want to see the game be successful. And people can appreciate that. Because I do really want to see it improve. But these types of problems are just it's just garbage. That's all. It's just garbage. Let's see here. It's too far away. This thing does a lot of damage, actually. So you have to know the combo there. Okay, dude. All right. I think that's a good place for us to stop. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I do really appreciate it. Thank you very much. We've had a great stream today, and I hope I was able to show you guys some of the intricacies of the way the game works and where I think it can improve. Tomorrow, we're going to Heaven's Ward. I'll see you guys then. Peace.